Ahoy folks, and welcome back to Broadside Gaming with me, Zug. So today, we're going to be taking a look at another Ogryn build. So let's jump in and take a look. So, as you can see, this is a slab shield build again, but this is a far more aggressive version. So let's take a look at the modifiers first. Defense is going to be our dump stat, because don't need it. This is not a World of Warcraft slab tank build like you'd expect it to be. This is a very aggressive weapon. And we're not going to be spending an awful lot of time like this. And if you are, then the slab shield is a bit of a trap. You don't want to just be turtling up all the time, or even worse, using the extra action button to stand here and do this. You want to be proactively attacking everything, because you are a stagger machine. And I'll get more onto that as we go through the video. So, the modifiers. Damage, crowd control, cleave damage, and penetration, lol, all want to be at 80 to get the most out of this shield. Perks, we're going for 25% damage to carapaced armored enemies and 25% damage to flak armored enemies. And then blessing wise, we're going for Skull Crusher. Target receives 4 stacks of plus 10% damage if we're already staggered. As I said, this is a stagger machine. Everything we hit will get staggered, which is putting a 40% increased damage debuff on everything. And then Brutal Momentum, which is giving us plus 15% weak spot damage, and weak spot kills also ignore enemy hit mass, which means we punch through, which is good, which gives us more cleave. And for our ranged weapon, we're going to be using the Rumbler. And for this, mobility is going to be our dump stat because, of course, this is Broadside Gaming and we hate mobility. For everything else, you want it to be 80. Blast damage, blast radius, penetration, lol, and ammo. All 80 to get the most out of the weapon. So for the perks, we're going for Flak, of course, because it's the most prevalent armor type in the game. And for Unyielding, because this is actually a boss-killing machine. It doesn't seem like it, but when we pair it up with Adhesive Charge, your grenades stick to Ogryns and monstrosities and give plus 15% damage versus Ogryns and monstrosities. It's a very unpleasant weapon. This is basically a slightly less cool version of the crack grenade. They don't do quite as much damage as crack grenades, but they basically work in the same way now. And I shall show you thusly. There's your Ogryn. And now it has a grenade in its head. It also sticks to Bulwark shields and to Reaper faces. That's why I love Adhesive Charge. And secondly, we're using Blaze Away. Plus 8% strength for every shot fired during continuous fire, stacks 5 times. So this just gives us a bit more damage while we mag dump it. Specifically into monstrosities. You're not going to get much out of this outside of monstrosity or large amounts of crushers. But it does increase the damage quite nicely. And lastly, the Curio. So we're using 2 Curios with plus 17% toughness, with extra toughness, damage resistant snipers, and damage resistant gunners. Now, we're taking damage resistant snipers on this because as an Ogryn, you are a massive target, and for most of the time, you will be in the middle of everything. Usually, you can just sidestep snipers, but when you're in the middle, as you can see, enemies block our ability to dodge. And it's for these situations why we're taking the increased sniper resist, because when you're stuck in the middle of a horde, that is when you're going to be gunned down. And obviously we're taking gunner resist because gunners are really horrible. And it also gives you resistance to Reapers. There is a massive debate whether it gives you resistance to shotgunners. Some say yes, some say no. So for the moment, we're just going to go with maybe it doesn't, because I get moaned at whenever I mention it. Which means I'm going to mention it every single time. And then the last Curio is going to be a 21% health Curio with extra health, toughness regeneration speed, and damage resistance gunners. So we are taking the 1 toughness regeneration speed just because this this increases the well, it decreases the time it takes for toughness to start regenerating. That's it. So it's not about how quickly you regenerate it, it's about how quickly that it actually starts to regenerate. This increases that as well. Okay, so it's literally that point that we want, and that's only why we're taking 1. And we're taking the 5 health to match the health on the blessings. So let's take a look at the talents. First up is Furious. For each enemy you hit during the same heavy melee attack, you gain 2.5% damage on your next melee attack. And then the Best Defense, replenish 20% toughness after hitting multiple enemies with a single heavy melee attack. Smash 'em, replenish 20% toughness after hitting a single enemy with a heavy melee attack. Heavyweight, the best point in the tree. Plus 30% damage against bulwarks, crushers, plague ogres, and reapers, and also receive plus 30% damage reduction against the same. And we'll also be taking a linchpin. Toughness is replenishing while in coherency is increased by 50%. Now, we are also taking the 2 toughness nodes on each side of the tree, and we're taking Bombs Away. Now, Bombs Away is the third best choice out of 3 choices. And the only reason we're taking this is so that we can take Slam, and so we can take Soften Them Up. I would much prefer to either take the Big Friendly Rock or Frag Bomb, but taking this allows us to get both of these. Slam gives us an impact bonus on melee attacks. Impact bonus is basically stagger. So we have plus 25% stagger bonus. And of course, Soften Them Up, enemies damaged by you take 15% more damage for 5 seconds. So anything we hit with either melee or ranged is going to take 15% more damage. Now in this build, it is all about layering up the ability to increase our damage. And Soften Them Up is a really good start point, along with Heavyweight. Next up, we're going for Indomitable. Charge forward with great force. Knocking back enemies and staggering them gain plus 25% attack speed and plus 25% movement speed for 5 seconds. Charge is stopped on collision with monstrosities, or you can actually just stop it yourself as well. So, to stop it, you just press the back button. So S. So you charge forward, and if you need to stop it short, hit S, and you basically screech to a halt. And we're going with Stomping Boots, replenish 10% toughness per enemy hit with Indomitable. And then Pulverize, apply 5 stacks of bleed on enemy hit by Indomitable. Now you can also take Trample. For each enemy hit by Bull Rush, you gain a stack of Trample. Trample increases base damage by 2% for 8 seconds, max stacks 25. Both of these are actually very, very, very good. You can see Pulverize as a defensive option and Trample as a damage option. I quite like Trample, I use it quite a lot. But if you want a more defensive playstyle or just some more defense inbuilt in the build, take Pulverize. And then we're coming here for the Rending boost. Rending is basically free damage. So 1% rending equals 1% damage, more or less. And then Batter, inflict plus 4 stacks of bleed on heavy melee hit. All of our hits are mostly going to be heavy. Heavy melee damage boost. Bone Breaker's Aura, plus 10% melee attack damage for you and your allies in coherency. And then down here into melee damage boost again. Delight in Destruction, plus 8% damage resistance per bleeding enemy, melee range, stack 6 times. That is how that pairs up with Pulverize. And Dominate, plus 10% rending for 10 seconds on elite kill. Now, we're not actually going to be going to heavy hitter, we're going through to the middle. And now we're going to be taking the toughness boost here into Attention Seeker. Then into Get Stuck In. On activating your combat ability, you and your allies in coherency gain plus 20% movement speed and are also immune to stuns and suppression. This is like a get out of jail free card. If you're being stunned or suppressed or basically pinned down, activating Indomitable will help you and your entire team get out of it. Next up is Bruiser. 4% combat ability cooldown reduction when you and your allies in coherency kill an elite enemy. Into Toughness boost here. Into Won't Give In, plus 20% damage reduction for each knockdown or incapacitated ally within 20 meters. This is your clutch point. Into Health boost, and then into Feel No Pain. You are blessed with 10 stacks of Feel No Pain. Each stack grants 2.5% toughness replenishment and 2.5% 2.5% toughness damage reduction. Taking damage removes 1 stack. Stacks are restored every 3 seconds. Now this is just a massive toughness boost for you, which is also going to allow you to stay in melee and generally do what you need to do, which is lay waste to everything. Now, with the slab shield, this is pretty much what you want to be doing. Continuously heavy attacking when you're in range of anything. This is going to keep everything staggered, it's going to keep bleeds on everything, which is going to in turn make you tougher, and also lay down a lot of damage to everything around you. Now, I'm not saying light attack is bad on this, it's not. The light attack's very good, but it doesn't do much from a build point of view. I mean, if you need to wade through a bunch of poxwalkers, then yeah, you can light attack your way through them. But heavy attacking isn't that much slower, and also you get all of the benefits for doing so. And as you can see, it's got a real wide sweep to it. And also, if you flick your camera in the direction that you're swinging, you can also increase the cleave of the weapon. Not massively, but enough to be noticeable. Which is why you'll see me turning with the shield as it goes left. So, what else can you do with this? Well, you can bully the hell out of Crushers and Bulwarks. Because not only can you stagger them and keep them staggered, you do quite a lot of damage to them. You just aim for the face and you keep swinging. And don't forget your trusty Rumbler. This is going to be amazing for monstrosity damage and also dealing with Crushers, Bulwarks, Reapers, anything big really. And there are a few cool things you can do with it. If it sounds like there are lots of Poxhounds about or you're not sure what's going to happen, you can always fire it at your feet and it will get you out of being Poxhound basically. If you can drop one, lol, before the dog hits you, this will break you free. And of course, if you really need to, you can use it to counter snipe snipers. Or anything really. Once you get a bit more confident with it, you'll realise that the kinetic damage you do when it hits them is actually quite high if you can manage to get a headshot with it. And also it's really, really nice for when one of your pesky teammates decides to not jump down onto off of a ledge and they get stuck with a dog. You just fire up there and hope that the explosion breaks them free. But with monstrosities and Ogryns, basically just aim and fire at them. You get Blaze Away stacking up to do more damage, and it will stick to Ogryns and monstrosities and really help you with that area denial that Beasts of Nurgle and Plague Ogryns do. And with Chaos Spawn as well, but they're just annoyingly fast. So unless they're targeting you, which if they are, that is one of the only times you're going to want to be standing there blocking. And the other time is for a demon host. Those, you literally just turtle up. That is when you turtle up. You dodge, you turtle up, and you take the hits on your shield. Every other time, you just want to be laying down either explosive fire with the Rumbler, or you want to be in the middle of it, staggering and generally making a nuisance of yourself. So with this build, it's almost the best of both worlds. We lose a small amount of damage by not having heavy hitter, but we do gain a huge amount of toughness. And this is a build I just really, really enjoy. And I hope you do too. And if you do, folks, please do like, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. It really does help us out. And I shall see you all for the next one. So until then, take it easy, and I'll see you later.